Hello class, today we are unlocking the secrets of hydrocarbon, the simplest organic compound but with huge importance. From the fuel in cars to the plastic in your water bottles, hydrocarbon are everywhere. Today they are made of just two elements, carbon and hydrogen, but their structures create endless possibilities. Let's dive in. Firstly, it was called in the past by this name because of the belief of scientists that living organisms such as plants and pandas are the ones that produce it. Using Dalton atomic theory, scientists were able to determine the composition of organic compounds, so they know it consists of carbon. Scientists were unable to synthesize an organic compound in the past because of their belief that they are a vital force in living organisms. Friedrich Fuller, he produced the first organic compound, urea. So this one, the first organic compound produced. And these scientists realized that organic compounds could be synthesized in laboratory. So let's see now what's the meaning of organic compound, or what's the definition of organic compound. So compounds that are contain carbon, so we call it organic compound because it's contain carbon, except these three. Firstly, carbon oxide, carbonides, and carbonate. Carbon oxide, like carbon dioxide for example, CO2. Carbonides is like CaC2, and carbonate, we know carbonate before, CO3, so MgCO3 is an example for carbonate. So speaking about carbon atom, so now let's see what are the properties of carbon atom. Firstly, it's in group 14 in periodic table. The electron configuration is 2s2 2p2 for a carbon atom. So we know carbon has four valence electrons, so it can form four covalent bonds, okay, we sharing the electrons. So also it can combine with hydrogen, oxygen, sulfur, nitrogen, phosphor, halogens also. So it can create straight and branching structure, create straight structure like CCC, branching, branching structure CCC, like this is branching, cyclic like benzene, branch cyclic also, and cage like structure. So why can carbon form millions of organic compounds? Because it has four covalent bonds and forms branch, chain, cyclic structure, and chain of up of thousands of carbon atoms, combining with other carbon atoms and with multiple elements such as hydrogen, oxygen, and halogen, and all of these elements as we spoke about it before. So the meaning of hydrocarbon, we know it consists of hydrogen and carbon for carbon. So the simplest organic compound contain only carbon and hydrogen. So the simplest organic compound, we know it is methane CH4, only one carbon atom and four hydrogen atoms. So we can present methane by different models. The first one is molecular structure. So let me zoom in here. Molecular structure, it shows the type and number of atoms. That's the meaning of molecular structure. This is molecular structure. Do not show the geometry of the molecules. So make sure that you know these two, because in past paper we can see some question asking about these things. Then we will move to structural formula. So it shows the general arrangement of atoms in the molecules and does not show the 3D figure. This is the structural formula. Then we have balanced model. So it shows the type of atoms in the molecules and shows the geometry of the molecules. This is the balanced model. Fill in the blank form. So it gives more realistic pictures of the molecules. Of it can be seen in reality, but it's difficult to determine the type of bond here in fill in the blank model. So this one is fill in the blank form. So if we want to classify carbon-carbon bonds, so the bond between carbon and carbon, we have two classification of it. Firstly, we have saturated carbon-carbon bond, so it contains only single covalent bonds. Okay, so only single covalent bonds. Here we have only one pair of electrons are involved. So for unsaturated, so for saturated only single bonds. Okay. For unsaturated, we have double and triple bonds. For double bonds, we have two pairs of electrons, and for triple bonds, we have three pairs of electrons, as we can see in this picture here. Okay, the definition of saturated hydrocarbon is, as we spoke about it before, so saturated hydrocarbon, it's contain only single bonds. On the other hand, we have unsaturated carbon, a hydrocarbon. It contains at least double or triple bonds. So how can we classify hydrocarbon? We make a chemical test, okay, for hydrocarbon. So we make this test with a bromine. So if it's mixed with, if it's react with propene, we call it unsaturated. So this one is react with propene, so it's unsaturated. As we can see, the color is changed here. If the color doesn't change and doesn't react with bromine, so we call it saturated only single bond. So in this test we can classify between saturated and unsaturated. Again, if it's react, it will be unsaturated, so it will be double or triple bond, as we can see here. But if it does not react and the color does not change, it will be saturated and the bond is single. So if he asked you what is the type of the bond between carbon and carbon atom, single, double or triple, and he gave you this information, it does not react, so we know it's saturated and the bond is single bond. So now let's speak about the formation of oil and natural gas. So it's formed from remains of living creatures that lived in oceans millions of years ago. We know these transformed by heat and pressure into share rich in oil and natural gas. And then oil seeps out of shale and collects in pool in the earth crust. And finally, natural gas consists of methane and other types of hydrocarbon containing 2 to 4 carbon atoms. So the definition of petroleum is complex mixture containing more than 1,000 different compounds. So the physical state of these hydrocarbon according to the number of carbon atom. If the number of carbon atom from 1 to 4, the physical state will be gas. From 1 to 4, gas. From 5 to 12, it will be liquid. If it's more than 12, it will be solid. So this is the physical state of hydrocarbon. This was the first part of our lesson. We will complete it by other parts. Thank you for watching.